Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to this episode of Mark's Garage. Today we're going to do another upgrade on the 2021 Can-Am Spyder RT Sea to Sky. And let me show you what we're talking about here. I did mention in my last video that the Can-Am Spyder was a great machine. We took it out west, did over 2,500 miles out in Idaho, in South Dakota, in Montana, just some terrific roads, Beartooth Pass, the Lolo Pass, Yellowstone National Park. However, when we ran for a few hours and burned through fuel, as you do, and it was time to go ahead and fill up the tank, let me show you what happened. We'll release this is the way you get at here's the fuel cap. Right there. Now, seat won't stay up. And if you saw my video about adding the new trunk shock, this is exactly the same situation that this machine needs. We need to put a new shock right here. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you what I bought. We're going to do some light disassembly. We're going to get at that shock. We're going to put a brand new one on. And hopefully we'll solve this dilemma of the falling seat. That's what's coming next. All right, well, let's get started on raising this seat. Then we'll get at the tabs to remove this. So you turn the key, push in, turn the key. That gives us access here, and there's a couple of tabs that we have to get to. There's one. Okay, and we'll get to the other one over here. There it is. There we go. So those tabs then release the rear seat like this. Then we just slide it forward. There's some mounting spots. And then what that does, it gives us access to this heated seat plug right here. So we'll just take a quick look at that. Once you have the passenger seat released from the tabs, again, you've got the one connection right here for the heated seat. There's one spot just to push down on the back, and then we release that. And then we can get this out of the way temporarily. So when we rotate the seat up now, we can see that right there is the top of the shock with the available bolt that we can remove. It looks like it's either an 8 or a 10 millimeter. We'll confirm that here shortly. Now's a really good time to do just a little bit of cleanup underneath the passenger seat as well. So this has got a bunch of thousands of miles on it, and over time, this is the first time I've taken off the passenger seat, but there's plenty of dust and grime, and I think being able to use this spray foam cleaner just to give things a little cleanup here it's the perfect time to do this. There we go. So now that we've got access right here to the top of that strut, we can loosen that, take that bolt out. We are going to reuse it. It'll be wise not to drop that. Not necessarily a bolt. It's got a bolt. It's got a hex head, but it's more of a screw that goes into that kind of a boss. We'll see that here in just a second. There we go. Okay, so there's the Got that hex head and some more of a screw. All right, so now we can lift this seat up, and right there we can take this shock mount, kind of wiggle it off that post. All right, we have just a little bit larger screwdriver here there we go. Wiggle that off, perfect. So now it's released from this post. Okay, and with that out of the way, then what we can do is we can actually pivot this seat, get it all the way back out of the way. Because what we're going to do then is we're going to look down this, right down there, and then we have to loosen the lower end of this shock. We'll get some light down there and I'll show you what we're going to do. So here's our shock. I have a piece of tape just holding it that way so it doesn't fall forward. And what we're going to do is we're going to get a screwdriver down there to loosen up that lower clip, and then we'll be able to take off the shock. Well, there you have it. With a long reach screwdriver, I was able to pry that bottom clip. Show it to you right there. I was able to pry that out with a long reach screwdriver. I actually had a super long reach here of about, I think this is 18 inches, but it worked out great. We're able to go ahead and get it off the bottom. I'll show you a shot here of the bottom peg. It's basically it's a round boss that it fits in there, so it'll make it real easy for putting the new one on, but we'll show you what that looks like down there. So now you can get a pretty good view of that boss down there, the little kind of a ball-shaped figure, and that's what we're going to snap on the new shock to there, and I'll show you the new shock and what that looks like. All right, here's the shock I just took off. Here's the new shock, and again, this is made by Shock-2021 for sling mods. So we'll open this up. There we go. And here is the new shock. So this will be up at the passenger seat. We'll put it over that boss. And here is the lower part right here. And that's the part that will snap into that ball. And again, like the old one, there's a spring wrapped around there. And yeah, so let's go get this on. All right, let's get this new shock installed. So we're going to lower it down into position, push it against that ball, and we'll see how that works. Okay, so it's a little bit of a tight fit, dropping that in there and getting your hand down far enough once it's over that round boss, and then just push with one hand forward, and it just snapped in. It's a little bit hard. It's nicer wearing gloves. It's a little bit hard with the sharpness of some of the plastics there, getting your hand in there, so hopefully that's helpful. Now we can rotate the seat down and get this connected. All right, let's rotate the seat here back in position, and we'll get the shock over that boss. There we go. Let's see. There we go. So that's there. Here's our screw. We'll get that started, and we can get that going. Tighten that up with our ratchet. Yeah, and this is just going into that plastic. So once we get a little closer here, we just need to make sure it's snug, not over tighten it, otherwise you're going to strip that. So we're getting close now. Right there, plenty. Now we can certainly check a little bit of the operation here. See how this see how this... Yeah, it definitely stays up now. That's nice. That's what we were looking for. We need that seat to stay up. Perfect. Wonderful. All right, it's time to put the rear seat back on. So we will grab that. We need to connect the heated seat element here. And then, all right, let's get this down in position. Okay, that's connected. Okay, we'll get there's two rear hooks. Okay, I see where those go, just like that. Then this pushes forward into the there, right there. Beautiful. Now let's check the operation here of this front seat again with that on. Look at that, stays up. This is exactly what we were looking for. Right there, locked position, unlocked, beautiful. All right, there you have it. All right, job complete. We now have a new shock for this rider seat. It'll keep it up when we get to fuel stations so we can easily access the fuel cap and get fuel in without trying to hold it with one hand and pump with another. Those days are gone. So again, I'll put links in the description for that particular item, and hopefully if you have to replace your seat shock, this will be helpful. I know that Sling Mods also has a very nice video of doing it. This was just real from my seat today, and glad you could come along. Thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate it. As always, and until next time, take care.